And also we are live.
We
Good
are
morning.
live. We are professionals and we
We
are
are
live.
professionals.
We're just
Yes.
saying that to remind ourselves, as a kind of mindset thing. I am a professional. I am alive. It's good. It's good. What are we talking about this morning, Bertie?
Today, Debbie Dudar, on this wonderful Friday morning at 10 o'clock every Friday, we are talking about, are you stopping your customers from buying? That's what we're talking about.
I think this is really interesting because when you said, oh, let's talk about this, I was like, oh, that's such a good topic and one I've not ever talked about before. And I talk a lot about things. So I thought, this is great. This is great. So yeah, what a great topic, because you can be pushing people away, can't you? And what we really want to do is be pulling people in and building relationships with them. So tell me more information, Bertie. I'm intrigued.
Yeah, so I was thinking, so this touches so many different areas, but I think a lot of the times you can put barriers in the way of people buying from you that don't necessarily need to be there, and you do it without thinking. And a lot of the time, it's when you're trying to force a customer down a process or a path that is good for you, but isn't necessarily good for a customer. Great example of this is when maybe you've seen like a really good, like Instagram's great for food, isn't it? You know, you see restaurants, you see food and things like that, and it's amazing. I really want to go to this place, and then you'll DM them, and then you won't get a response. So that's one example. It's like if you're going to be on Instagram, then monitor your DMs, because actually it's a very easy way for people to get in touch.
Yeah.
Or other things, or if they respond with, okay, can you email us the details that you've just sent? It's like, no, dickhead, take the details I've just given you and put it into your system for me. Now, granted, there are sometimes, that as you scale, that's not practical, and that's not what I'm talking about. So I'm not talking about, emailing big chains and asking them to do, although even they still, in this era of, where people have a lot of choice, should still be doing those things. The example that I'm thinking of is where, like, I'd had to do this with a restaurant a couple of years ago. And then when I turned up, and I did go through their convoluted booking system, when I turned up, I was the only person there. And that made me think they were so close to losing me as a customer at that point because they couldn't be bothered to do it. Whereas actually, they should have took that detail and grabbed me with both hands, because how many other people had thought, I can't be asked with that. Like, now I've got to fill in my email. I've literally just typed out all of the details for you. And I think a lot of the time we do this because we want people to book on our website. Maybe we don't want them to WhatsApp us the details, or we like it all in a nice email so we can put it into Trello or our CRM system. But that's good for us. It's not good for our customers all the time. So that's what I'm talking about, because a lot of people do this without even thinking about it. So is there anything that you do, Dudar? Is there anything that our viewers, watchers, listeners are doing? Like, as we're talking about this now, like, ask us the questions in the comments, whack it in there. Like, what are the things that possibly you're doing that stop people from buying?
Yeah, I know what the kind of thing that you mean. I think, like, an example that I can think of is that I was interested in attending an event and somebody talked about the event on social media. So I was like, right, I'd like to go to the event. And instead of just giving me the link, they said, oh, well, we posted the link in a comment in a post that's previous. And it's like, what, now I've got to scroll through your post and try and find the link? Why don't you just give me the link? Like, why don't you just cut and paste the link at that moment and make it easy for me to, because then I was just annoyed. I was like, oh God, now I've got to like use my brain to do that stuff. So I totally get what you mean. And I don't know if there's things that I do. Like, sometimes I might make it more tricky on purpose for people to buy my services. So if somebody wants to book coaching with me, then they have to fill out a form before we have the call. And really, for me, that form's like a bit of a gatekeeper. It's like, if you can't be bothered to fill out the form, you're probably going to waste my time on the call. So I'm almost repelling people in a way to try and filter out the people that really do want to work with me and are going to be committed. But I think that's a slightly different thing, isn't it? And one of the things that I think is really important is thinking of how do you make it easy for people to buy your stuff, which is why Amazon wins. It's why Amazon's winning, because of convenience. And I think sometimes, like you've pointed out, we forget that one click buy or that convenient route to getting the thing that you want is the difference between making a sale and losing a sale. And maybe that restaurant would have had nobody in it if you hadn't have gone through this ridiculous system to book a table, where they could have gone, okay, Bertie, see you at 8.
Yes,
and you'd be
exactly.
like, great, see you at 8. This is great. Like that's all you want, isn't it? In that instance. So I think there is a thing about looking at your kind of customer journey and thinking about if you're overcomplicating it.
Yeah,
Because
that's right.
nobody wants complex, do they? Everybody wants something that's easy and convenient. And as soon as you put some of those blocks in the way, people just start drifting away because we're all lazy at the end of the day. And we just want to conserve calories for our poor brains that are desperately trying to get through the end of the day.
Yeah.
And if you're asking me to burn calories, I'm out of here.
Yeah. That's exactly. Really, really good points, Debbie. And the pre-qualification I want to come back to as well. But yeah, like the things that I do, like the things that I push customers away is I don't follow up. So I'm like if I'm meeting a networking meeting, and then like it's like, oh yeah, I could definitely work with this person, and I just won't do anything about it. Like, and in my head, I know that I should, I just forget, and then sometimes a week later, I'll find their business card and be like, oh fuck, that was a customer I've just forgotten about. But anyway, you know, so I think we all have these things, but I think your pre-qualification one I want to delve into as well, because a lot of people do this now. You know, for context of anyone that doesn't know, as Debbie is a very experienced business coach, she's been doing this for many years, and like I'm without you know, like I'm 99% sure that your pre-qualification has come from experience of people wasting your time on calls, and then actually you've put these things in. That is exactly the right thing to do.
Yeah.
If you were just starting out today and saying, right, okay, I don't want people wasting my time, I'm going to put all these barriers in, or I want to pre-qualify first, I would say, well, hang on a minute, hold your horses. Let's test that first. Let's see if whether actually these people are going to waste your time, because that you want to push people away in that instance, but actually in the first instance, you want to, if you were just starting out today, you'd want to get as much as that data in, because some people are going to fall through the net on that. Some people actually might be genuine customers, but you're willing, that's a trade-off that you're willing to make, because of your experience, the majority of people have probably wasted your time in the first instance. Is that correct? I'm speaking for you.
I think it's also that I'm super busy and I've got loads of clients. So it's like, actually, it helps me make sure that I've got those ideal clients who are going to do the work, who are going to show up. If you're going to fill a form and you're going to be engaged in the whole process. But you're right. If you're really early on in that stage, actually, one of the best things you can do is talk to as many people as possible.
Yeah.
What are you struggling with? What part of your business in? So you're right. At that very early stage, just talk to loads of people, get on those calls, have those conversations, because you'll learn so much through what people say to you, and that will help you to kind of define your offer. I was just thinking also about this thing of stopping customers buying. Sometimes people have such convoluted kind of sales pages that by the end of it, I am bored shitless. And I'm like, oh my God, I don't even know what it is that you're selling me anymore. And I'm just bored. So I think it's not just the process, it's also your sales messages. Like, make it clear to people what it is that you're buying. What are the features of what you're selling? What are the benefits? Give them some testimonials so they can give you an easy yes. Like, make it easy for people to say yes to you. And I see a lot of the time people missing out like vital elements. And it's like, this should definitely be here. Like, don't expect me to go to your About Me page from your sales page. You know, a sales page should have a little snippet of who you are in it, because I might not go to your About Me page, and then I might be like, who is this guy? Why would I trust them? Tell me a little about them. So think about how you can give people information in a really clear way that enables them to make a good decision so they can give you a yes. Don't expect them to be floating about all over your website, you know, doing the research for you. Give them the vital information that they need. And I think people miss that bit out sometimes as well. Just make it easy for people to say yes.
Yes, that's right. Or think of it like, you know, like if your website is like a building and you can't necessarily greet everyone that's coming in, but think that your website and the words and the images that you're using is almost someone there, like greeting them at the door, like, hey there, Debbie, let me just take you through. Let me just hold your hand. And then you get them, this is what we can do, and this is how we can help. And you get to the end, it's like, would you like to work with us? And then it's your choice if you want to walk through that door or not. If you've got all these other doors, or if it's not clear and it's like, oh, where do we go now? Actually, I quite like this. How do we buy? And there's nobody left. You just left there in an empty lobby. It's like, well, what do you do? Now I've got to get out and I'm just going to hit that exit button and go.
Yeah, because I'm confused. Or people that have like drop down buttons and then they've got like 15 different options of how to work with them on the drop down button. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm probably here because I'm overwhelmed and I need help. and all you're doing is overwhelming me with the myriad of choices that you've got of the different ways that I could work with you. Just get me on a call. Just make it easy for me to say that yes. So I think, yeah, this is a really good topic, because I think there's lots of things that people do unwittingly, making the process overcomplicated. Exactly. Just be as much like Amazon as you possibly can. Like, how can I make it super simple?
And I think you can probably look at your process and think, actually, those things I do really, really well. I mean, I worked with a photographer about a year ago, Steve, who tunes in sometimes. I don't think he's here today. And yeah, great example. Like, I need some photos. Messaged him and straight back on LinkedIn. He was like, okay, let's have a look. No, like messing about. He was like, do you want to do this afternoon? It's a sunny day. Yeah, fuck it, let's do it. And then I've got the photos that evening. Like, that sort of thing is brilliant. You know, he could have sent me to his website, could have maybe booked on a, you know, a long convoluted booking system, but actually just took ownership of that and did it. And not this sort of like, oh, you know, let's pretend I'm really busy. If you've got that availability this afternoon, then take it. Sometimes you can't always do that. Yeah. So I think it's really, really important to, so that's a really good example, I think, of how to do it. But of course, if you are too busy, you can't do that, and you have to put processes in. But I would always say, don't try and solve problems before you've got them. And I think if you are a new coach, and like if you were just starting today and you wanted to put all of these things in, it's like, well, we don't know if that's going to be a problem yet. I'm really fortunate. I get to see lots of investment decks and all different things like that. And sometimes I'll just look through and people are like, so a customer's going to do this, and then they're going to do that, and then they're going to do this. It's like, no, they're really not. Like, customers don't work like that. These are assumptions, and you have to test those things out. So a lot of the time, your processes can be pushing people away and stopping them from handing over their hard-earned cash to you, which is what we want, isn't it, ultimately? No, we do.
Give us your money.
Give us the money.
The Benjamins, and I'm just rolling around in it all. That was a great topic. Well, thank you very much for bringing that up. I'm like, yeah, this is good. This is something we need to talk about more.
Brilliant.
Like, let's not be repelling people.
No, let's not repel people. So I will see you, Debbie Dudar, next Friday at 10 o'clock. And if you're listening on the podcast, thank you very much. Tune in and all that stuff. And we'll see you again very soon. Thanks for listening, watching, and all that stuff. Happy Friday.